Welcome to the Upper Michigan Rehabilitation Center, home to some of the many caring hands of Marquette General Health System. Here, rehabilitation takes on a unique focus. Our treatment program is an intense, multidisciplinary approach to relearn skills used in everyday activities. The purpose of this presentation is to help patients and their families prepare for their stay in rehab and to know what to expect from the staff and from themselves during their stay. Following an injury or illness, caring for oneself and managing the functions of day-to-day life can become a tremendous challenge. Activities like getting dressed or reading the paper may be difficult. Our goal is to help patients regain as many of their abilities as possible. In fact, after 1 to 2 weeks of rehab, 80% of our patients are able to return home with support. Our professional therapists work with the mind, the body, and the spirit to help restore each patient's independence and self-reliance.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for rehab. I would not be here, I'm sure, because I would have lost confidence in myself. They really, they didn't push, but they said, well, let's get at it and let's get going. And I mean, they're very, very good, very, very good.
During the year 2000, I was working as a school teacher at Ishpeming, and I developed an epidural abscess.
Are you ready to start therapy again?
Yeah, let's go and do it. It strangulated my spinal column, and I ended up hospitalized here at Marquette General. And the strangulation of my spinal column caused paralysis. So I'm now paralyzed from the armpits down. Thanks to the efforts of the people working in the rehab unit here, including Dr. Maynard and Sue Parker and Brad and John, especially, I developed pretty much full use of my arms and shoulders. When I was first hospitalized, I really had no use of my arms and shoulders at all. So their efforts helped me to develop a lot of useful function, and I can live a fairly normal life as a result of that.
Because the effects of illness or injury are unique, each patient has customized recovery goals. Treatment plans are designed specifically for each patient using the Rehab Center's comprehensive services and programs. A team of rehab specialists reviews and monitors each patient and their progress daily. Team members who may be involved include: our admissions coordinator is responsible for gathering all the necessary information needed before a rehab stay. This will include things like insurance, previous physician care, and plans for home support upon the completion of the rehab program. Each patient is under the care of a physiatrist, a physician who specializes in physical medicine and rehabilitation. In some cases, a patient's family physician may also be included in the program on a consulting basis. Of all the members of the rehab team, patients will have the most contact with the nursing staff. The primary role of the nurses is to assist in the management of the patient's medical and rehab needs. Although the nursing staff is there to help the patient whenever necessary, it's important to know that the nurse's job is to encourage the patient to do as much as possible for themselves. Through constant interactions, nurses provide much of the continuing education of both the patient and the patient's family. Physical therapists work with patients to improve their movement, function, mobility, and pain control. Patients can expect to spend 1.5 hours a day working with therapists on exercise and instruction. Often misunderstood, occupational therapy has little to do with employment, but deals with the activities of normal daily living. Patients work to relearn skills like getting dressed, handling personal hygiene, and practicing habits of home safety. The role of occupational therapy is to help the patient work on the skills necessary to return to a more independent lifestyle. Speech therapists evaluate and treat patients with communication, thinking, feeding, or swallowing concerns. problems swallowing food or liquid can affect a patient's nutritional, medical, or social status. Speech therapists help patients learn how to manage reading and writing difficulties, voice and speech problems, memory loss, problem solving, and organizational skills. Another goal of the rehab program is to help patients regain the ability to enjoy the recreational aspects of their lives. Patients can also use recreational therapy to learn new physical activities to incorporate into their lifestyle. Community outings can also provide a chance to practice their skills.
The importance of recreational therapy is that we take a look at the person's lifestyle prior to their accident, things they enjoyed doing and what's important for that person. They might not be able to do again. So my job is to find things that they can do to maybe get back to doing their previous interest, or finding things that will help them get strong enough to do that, or be safe enough, or do that activity in a totally different way they've never thought of.
The role of the case manager is to coordinate the patient's care while on rehab to ensure their needs are being met. The case manager is available to address questions or concerns a patient may have and to assist in planning the patient's continued care following discharge. Social workers play an important role in helping the patient and family adjust to their situation. A social worker will help set up the services that will be needed after discharge, including home health, outpatient treatment, and other support services. Neuropsychologists help patients and their families with thinking, emotional, and behavioral concerns. Though the brain may not have been directly impaired, there can be emotional issues as the patient adjusts to the changes in their physical abilities. Our nutritional specialists will assist when necessary with diet education, nutritional support information, supplements, tube feedings, and IV nutrition. Some of the most important members of the rehab team aren't hospital employees. They're the patient's family and loved ones. Rehab therapists encourage family members to participate in the treatment program as much as possible. When the patient returns home, it's important that family members are familiar with the rehabilitation progress to date and what type of ongoing care will be needed.
I think families play a very key part in the rehabilitation process for all patients. They need to be involved right from the beginning to the end. We try to integrate them in for education, teaching. If a patient is going to be going home, they usually have to have some kind of support and that's usually family. We provide all that education while they're here. We have opportunities to transition a patient prior to them going home to an apartment type setting, so that families can do kind of a dry run in the apartment. We do all that is necessary and provide all of that education to the families throughout the entire stay. We encourage it.
I know myself, I took each day at a time. I would come in here every day. I'd work with the nursing staff and with a therapist to learn to do what was needed. And we used humor a lot. Steve was very good with humor, and he kept up his spirits that whole time. His family was here too. His parents and his daughter and his son were here quite often. And as a unit, we pulled together, and we knew we could make it through this.
And finally, there's one more very important person on the rehab team, the patient. Doctors, nurses, therapists, and family members can only do so much. They can teach and they can assist, but the patient is the one who has to make it happen.
Here, we're really having to look at the whole person, and are they able to take care of themselves? Okay, can they do their jobs? Can they do their hobbies and their activities that make life meaningful? Do they have their relationships restored with other people?
Of course, the work of the rehab team is important, but the success of the treatment ultimately lies with the patient. For a patient about to enter rehab, the most important thing to remember is you can do it.
I can't do all the things that I used to do before, but I can still do an awful lot of things. And my quality of life is quite good. I enjoy life, and I'm able to partake of most of the activities, or a lot of the activities that I did before I was injured.
In addition to a can-do attitude, there are a few things a patient needs to bring to rehab to help accommodate their stay. Since this will be the patient's home for a short time, it's essential to have the items necessary for normal daily living. It'll be similar to packing for a simple trip, and patients will be given a list of suggested items prior to admission. Any questions regarding what to bring can be answered by the admissions coordinator.
The number one satisfaction for me as a rehabilitation doctor is seeing people really have their lives given back to them in spite of a disabling physical illness or severe injury. Many times you really don't get that until a lot of time goes by. Sometimes, a lot of times it isn't when they leave the hospital, it's when I have the privilege of seeing them in the clinic a month or 2 or 3 later. Then you really realize that what you did has made a difference.
For more information or to make a referral, contact the admissions coordinator at 906-225-3171 or visit us on the MGHS website at www.mgh.org.